So apparently everyone hates dating apps now. It was a big thing back like in 2016, I think 2016, 2019. And I can't really say that I'm surprised that people don't like dating apps anymore because I mean in today's age dating apps are more of a dating apps are more of a way to remind you that you're ugly and to remind you that you're alone. Why is this not staying? Oh, it's this one. That's why. It's just a way to remind you that you're ugly and alone. So yeah, I understand why people are not huge fans of dating apps anymore. Anyways, we're checking out a video by Fads.
So the other day, I was thinking about dating apps, right? And I was wondering how they were getting on. And it turns out that they are not doing great. Bumble's actually down 92% since it first went public. And Match Group, the company which owns basically every other dating app, is doing pretty badly as well. People are falling out of love with dating apps. And this is affecting Gen Z in particular, who...
Well, also, like, I remember when I was using dating apps, I straight up asked the girl that I was there because, like, she was very sparse in her messaging and then would not answer and then message me like 2-3 days later. And then one day I just called her out. I was like, are you bored and are just using this dating app as a way to boost your ego to text guys in the hopes that they answer you? And she was like, yeah, I am. And I'm sure I'm not the first person that's happened to. I'm sure I'm not the first person that's asked the question. And I'm sure a lot of people came to that realization without ever even having to ask the question. So it's like, why would I waste my time, my energy, my confidence, basically? Because you're putting yourself out there. And especially as a guy that isn't like supermodel attractive. Because on dating apps, if you're not supermodel levels of attractive, it's significantly harder to get a match, right? Like, I mean, the last 3 girls that I've been on dates with, which includes my fiance, I picked them up at their jobs. And like, I wasn't even working there, right? I just strolled in and asked them out, and it worked out. And on dating apps, I've had like not zero success, but it's been significantly more difficult because one, there's like absolutely zero commitment from the other person on the other side. You're not in an actual interaction. You can just leave whenever you want to. And at the end, right, there's this huge wall, which is the phone between you and that other person. So it's much harder to form that kind of connection. Now it's 23 seconds into the video and we're yapping away.
Are becoming less likely to spend money on the apps. In fact, Forbes Health ran a survey and found that 79% of Gen Z respondents had reported experiencing some form of dating app burnout. You might have even seen that the companies have resorted to some interesting marketing techniques. For example, Bumble got in trouble for some ads that they ran trying to convince women to no longer be celibate, I guess.
Okay.
People weren't too happy with these adverts.
Interesting.
Now, this is a far cry from...
Yo, everyone, start banging now. This ad was brought to you by Bumble, a place where women make the first move.
The promise that dating apps made for us. When they first launched, it would be difficult to believe that around a decade later, they'd be launching $500 a month membership programs.
500.
If we try to understand how we...
Tinder expands, offering invites only $4.99 a month. Why would you need a $500 membership for Tinder?
Ended up here, we maybe can come to some interesting conclusions, not just about these apps, but maybe about human relationships more broadly and the assumptions that we might make about each other. The first thing that's worth explaining is that the decline of these apps is in large part a signal of broader trends in technology. There's this idea of Enshittification, the phenomenon of online platforms degrading the quality of their services over time.
Uber Eats, bro. Uber used to be fantastic. It used to cost me like $1 to go from the suburbs to downtown. Now it's just as or more expensive than a regular taxi. But we've all got Uber on our phones now, so I'm not gonna call a taxi when I've got an app that's gonna do it for me,
leading to an overall decline in user satisfaction and overall value. This is something that's really broad across technology. It is best characterized through Airbnb, starting initially as a promised land where you could rent out a spare room at the fraction of the cost of a hotel, but ending up in a situation where people are paying $200 cleaning fees and have curfews and service fees for a rental. The most egregious example of Enshittification is BMW, who in 2022 launched a subscription to just unlock the heated seats that were already in the car. Dating apps are not immune to this problem, as
I work in the car industry. BMW, Mercedes, I hate those. I hate them so much.
Fundamentally, they are technology companies. The most obvious manifestation of this Enshittification is the idea that subscriptions are king. I don't know if you know this, but Tinder actually has 3 separate subscription options on top of the $500
Tinder Plus, Tinder Gold, Tinder Platinum
a month subscription plan. These look more like insurance plans.
What do we get? Okay, so regular Tinder, match, chat, and meet. However, you have a limited number of likes you can send. However, with Tinder Plus, you get unlimited likes, unlimited rewinds, passport to any location, hide advertisements, because when I'm trying to date, I love seeing an ad every once in a while. Then we got Tinder Gold, which has 5 super likes, 1 free boost per month. See who likes you back, so you can, get away from all the fatties that are gonna like you. Because any guy, and listen, I have been guilty of this in my younger days. I got the gold because they didn't have plus or platinum back then, and guess what? It's just fatties, bro. New top picks every day. When you live in the suburbs, I promise you, it will be the same top picks every day. And and then last but not least, message before matching. God, I love unwanted attention. Prioritize likes. I don't know what the that means. I need to stop cursing. See the likes you sent in the last 7 days. Hey, do you remember you swiping? Hey, these are all the people that have not responded or don't care or know that you've liked them and simply don't want to see you. Tinder Platinum.
Apps. Dating apps have not become immune from this subscription mania, and their monetization strategy has led to them feeling more like a gacha game. If you don't know what a gacha game is, it's a game that uses like a loot box mechanic where players buy in-game currency and use it to gamble effectively. In fact, Tinder actually rolled out its own in-app currency that you could use to buy special features that would increase your chance of finding love. It's a very overt shift towards gamification, towards implementing game-like mechanics in a non-gaming environment. The literal CEO of the parent company of Tinder is a man named Bernard Kim. Gamification, towards implementing game-like mechanics in a non-gaming environment.
Tinder parent match group hires Zynga's Bernard Kim as CEO.
The literal CEO of the parent company of Tinder is a man named Bernard Kim, who was the former president of Zynga. If you don't know who Zynga are, they are the company that is responsible for all of the worst mobile games.
Oh,
the ones that look like this, right? And it's no surprise that these mechanics have been transferred directly from mobile games, which are some of the most addictive games in the world, to dating apps. This idea of gamification, broadly put, is simply just driving engagement and driving usership, not by providing a service, but by hijacking your brain's reward circuitry and making you addicted to the app rather than enjoying the app.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I remember when I was on that Tinder grind, and I remember back when you had unlimited likes for free, dog. People were just obsessed, myself included for a little bit. However, I stopped being obsessed because Tinder, again, just reminded me about how alone and ugly I was. So I stopped using it pretty fast because that shit will destroy your ego if you don't have a lot of matches and whatnot. So, but I will admit, like it's a constant instant gratification because you swipe it and when you get that match, it's instantaneous, and you also feel like you've already broken the ice because you guys are both acknowledging the fact that you guys find each other attractive. So I understand why it is easy to get obsessed, and I understand why, like, even if you're not getting matches, you stay on the app because you're like, well, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the next day. If not the next day, then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And you get like into this really weird cycle of like chasing a high that never actually comes. This is worse than drugs, honestly.
As these apps have become increasingly gamified, people have responded much how they would respond to an actual game, by trying to exploit the mechanics of the game. In the world of dating, this manifests as hinge hacks. So there's this whole world on TikTok, which I didn't know about, of people sharing techniques and tips that you can use to make your experience of using dating apps a little better. Some of these things include refreshing your Hinge feed by threatening to delete your account, which supposedly flags Hinge It makes you way more likely to show up in other people's feed. Other people's decisions have been things like choosing to use AI wingmen to create a profile that is optimized for these algorithms. Enshittification.
100%, because like my phone has an insane amount of storage. Crazy amount of storage. There's like 3 pictures of me there. Right? And like the reason why there's pictures is because my fiance took them. like I don't have good pictures of myself. I don't know how to pose for pictures. I'm not there every single day taking the same goddamn picture 20 times in the mirror before going to work so that I can post it on my Instagram. Like I don't have a gallery of myself on my phone. So I understand why people are using AI tools to give them an advantage, because your average dude probably is not a model, probably does not have all these pictures ready to go.
Isn't necessarily a complete explanation though, because despite the fact that many other services in technology have been getting worse and worse, the companies seem to still be doing great. And there are some unique dynamics of these apps that make them especially prone to collapse, and that can help us understand the mass exodus. Part of it is simply the fact that these apps promote the idea that they'll literally change your life. Hinge, for example, markets itself as the dating app designed to be deleted, which is an extremely big promise. It's a promise that I personally, as a cynic, feel like isn't necessarily true. Hinge is owned by a $9 billion company,
well,
so, I don't think they want you to delete any of their apps. I should mention that I try to consult a variety of sources, and sometimes that leads you, especially with dating, down some uncomfortable rabbit holes. And so I want to maybe address a few preconceptions that people can often have after having had a bad experience with dating apps. They're not an enjoyable experience for anyone, regardless of gender identity. Around 80% of women report feeling some level of burnout, and around 74% of males report feeling some kind of burnout as well. The unenjoyable experience is pretty evenly split across the aisle. We have some very different problems.
Well, yeah, because women feel the burnout because they're like, oh my God, look at all these thirsty losers after me. And none of them are hot. And most of them are holding fish. And guys are like, I don't understand. I've been swiping right on every single person, and all I match with are these god frickin' beluga whales, right? So yeah, I understand that as a guy you get frustrated because you're swiping all goddamn, you're getting 0 matches, and the one match you get, she could, she takes up the entire canoe by herself. And not to be a realist, I guess, but most guys are probably not on the dating apps so that they can date the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I'm so mean today. I need to stop. And then with girls, it's like, what's it called? It's like paralysis by choice. Way too many options. And a lot of the options are creeps, right? It's because I am going based off of no proof, but I'm going to suggest, I'm going to theorize, I'm going to believe in myself that most guys have their age range significantly wider than the average chick. And they'll get dudes like in their 50s and 60s sending these likes to these like 18, 19-year-old girls. And obviously you'd feel a little creeped out.
That I care, but no set of problems is one more significant than the other. Interestingly enough, men outnumber women 3-1 on Bumble and Tinder.
Really? Surprise, surprise. Could you believe that there's three times more men? Are you saying me the person that generally is the pursuer in relationships is going to be more active on dating apps? And fun thing about Bumble, because I used Bumble for a little bit, I wanted to see what it was like. Girls are just as trash as guys when it comes to sending the first message. My experience on Bumble was most of the time girls would not send me the first message. However, they would give me permission to send the first message. So even when you give them the reins, most of them do not want to take it. I'm just saying.
And yet women report higher rates of negative experiences. That's not to invalidate the fact that men obviously have incredibly high rates of negative experiences, but rather to emphasize the fact
I think men have mostly negative experiences on dating apps.
That nobody enjoys the experience of dating apps. The grass isn't greener on anyone's side. Men are far more likely to experience feelings of rejection, feelings of being ignored, whereas it seems like the issues that women report are more Well, they're different. They're different, at least.
2023 survey from Pew Research Centers found that over half of women under 50 who had used dating sites or apps had been sent a sexually explicit message or image they didn't ask for. Well, you're on a dating app. I am sorry, but what you're basically what a dating app has turned into, it's turned into eBay. Right? It's turned into eBay. You open up eBay, you scroll through the item that you're looking for, you find something you like, and then you place a bid on it. However, in this case, it's not a bid. I'm sending you a picture of my...
So a 2023 survey found that over half of women under 50 who'd used dating apps had been sent a sexually explicit message that they didn't ask for, which I think is an insanely high statistic. But generally, the issue...
I think it's more. I think it's more than 50%.
That lead people to feel burnt out are more broadly the failure to find a good connection, being ghosted, being lied to, feeling rejected, and having boring or not substantive conversations. Now, let's maybe understand a bit more about the...
My biggest issue with Bumble is that I kept getting these matches with these like super liberal white women with like colored hair and stuff. And this was like during the whole BLM movement, right? Like this is like when the BLM was really, really big. And every girl I was matching with would want to talk to me about BLM or how like Black lives were important or that I was valid as a person too. And I was like, when did I ever say that I wasn't valid? When did I ever say, like, first of all, I'm gonna go on record and say this. I am not here to back up the BLM movement. I don't think George Floyd was a hero. Okay? I don't think they should have made a statue of him. He was a drug dealer that was executed. Should not have happened. It was a public execution. It should not have happened. Am I sad that a drug dealer that was selling fent to high schoolers is off the streets? Not really. No, that was my big issue with Bumble, is that I kept getting matched with these like hyper liberal women that just wanted to keep talking about how I was black and how I was a person too. However, fun fact, our dates didn't go much further after they found out that I held a lot of conservative values.
The user experience and what kind of leads to these super high rates of dissatisfaction, and whether dating apps are actually benefiting from this or not, because it seems like they aren't benefiting from this huge level of dissatisfaction that people are experiencing. I want to explain a little term from economics called adverse selection. Planet Money wrote a little piece explaining how adverse selection might be an important factor in understanding why dating apps have gotten so bad lately. It's possible that dating apps face adverse selection. Basically, a new app starts up and hopeless romantics looking for real love begin flocking to it. But so do sleazy types who lie on their dating profile. Over time, the earnest daters go on a bunch of bad dates, encountering people who have no interest in real relationships or whose profiles are completely misleading. Like lemons driving good cars out of the used car market, maybe sleazeballs push great catches out of dating apps and ultimately ruin the quality of the whole app experience. So people go to a new app in the hopes of finding something better, and the cycle starts again.
Yes, because obviously you as a person, your face, your height, your income, and your capability to take good pictures of yourself has changed, has improved because you've moved on to a new dating app. Like, the reason why I stopped using dating apps entirely is because I have no game when it comes to texting. Like, zero. I have negative riz when it comes to texting. Like, it's sad, okay? I make the Sahara Desert look like a rainforest when it comes to texting. Man, I'm really making myself look good right now. Anyways, I stopped using it because even when I would start texting these girls and like we would go somewhere, we would meet up and like there's no conversation happening because all of the conversation we've done was by text message. And now that we're in front of each other, there's like this awkwardness going on between both of us. I feel like when in person, yes, you can get that rejection in your face, which sucks. It sucks. But if you break the ice in person, when you go on that first date, it's significantly easier to have a conversation because you've already broken the ice face to face versus by text message. So I discourage anyone from using dating apps unless like you're traveling and like you're just trying to like have a good time or whatever. But like I think it's way easier to have a discussion in real life and then to turn that discussion into a date and then go from a date into a relationship eventually. Just, you know, don't be creepy and don't get clingy.
This idea of adverse selection is basically the idea that people can take advantage of, you know, the meta on dating app to promote themselves as something they're not, and ultimately lead honest, well-intentioned users to feel like the apps don't have any other honest users because they're only interacting with people who know how to game the app. This is this whole idea of, you know, hinge hacks or using AI tools to beat the system. It doesn't necessarily make you a better person on a date, but it makes you more representative of what the market supposedly looks like to someone who's just downloaded the app. And it makes people who download the app feel like everyone is awful. There is a way to actually minimize these bad apples. This is something that's actually been done before. If
Get off the app. That's how you minimize it. That's how you get rid of this shit.
you can give the users as much information as you can, they can make more informed decisions, right? That's intuitive. However, the more information you provide to those users, the harder it makes for the app to be gamified because they can't rely on the fact that you don't know things about other people. This is most clearly shown in the fact that Hinge's premium program, Hinge Plus and Hinge X, they both allow you to actually...
Hinge, honestly, bro, I don't want to be mean, but I've never seen like a 10 out of 10 on Hinge. And I've been scrolling, okay? I've been swiping. I reached the bottom of the barrel. I ain't never seen no 10 out of 10 baddie on Hinge before, right? Anyways, we're not gonna get into it, but nah, bro, bunch of feminists, bunch of liberals, a bunch of like pink-haired, pink hair, blue hair dyed, fat. Like that's all I see on. Oh, I'm a poet. I'm a slam poet. That's what I've been seeing on Hinge. I mean, this was a couple years ago. Maybe things have changed. Maybe it was just my area. But on the real, like, if you want to get like all artistic and find yourself a fat chick with pink hair, go on Hinge.
More information about yourself. They allow you to filter your dates by location, by activity, and to fine tune exactly what you're looking for, which inevitably leads to a better dating experience and reduces this problem of adverse selection. And this isn't just theoretical. We can take the example of OkCupid,
Hinge X,
which has actually gone through a bit of a transformation from being a dating app that dealt with this problem of bad apples a lot better than the new school of dating apps into gradually becoming another Tinder clone. I found this comment of...
I remember OkCupid back in the day, bro. I even used that one when I was younger. And because it wasn't an app back then, it was a website, and they had a mobile version of the website. I believed OkCupid could have become a great dating app. It could have become like a big contender. They just had a terrible UI. It was garbage. It was hard to navigate. Getting through people's profiles was difficult. Opening up messages took time. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, you have to wait 5 minutes before you can read someone's message. I mean, like, the message box opening took time. Like, it was just a bad website. And I think that they could be a super strong player in the dating app, in the dating game, if they just had a better UI. I don't know what it's like now, but I'm talking about like back then. It's like 10 years ago.
Describe their experience, and I think it captures quite well what's going wrong with these apps. OkCupid used to be really great before they were sold off to Match. Match is the company that owns Tinder and Hinge and all of the other ones. It was a pretty simple concept that worked really well. Start people off by forcing them to answer at a minimum like 25 matching questions around things like politics, religion, handling money, hygiene, etc. Core factors that people would consider when dating, essentially. But the kicker was that you also got to specify how you would like your potential match to respond to the same question. And you got to weight that response based on how much you cared about that particular question. After about 25 questions, you could always get a large enough sample size to match people, but it worked best at matching people that had answered over 100 questions each. It was like magic. Anyone with over an 80% match on that site always ended up being a surefire, amazing conversation. What this person is describing, without necessarily realizing, is this idea of adverse selection, right? The idea that just by having more and more information about who your potential matches are in terms of their interests, their likes, their personality, you can basically make dating apps be fantastic. However, the issue with that is that they can become a bit too good, right? And you end up in the situation where every person you match with is actually a pretty good person, and you're therefore extremely likely to quit the app. The ideal situation for these apps is this weird middle ground where they want you to find someone you like, but not too often and not someone that you like too much, because then you delete the app. But they don't want you to have 0 matches, because that means that you'll delete the app super quick.
And that's when they send in the fat.
That's kind of the optimal model of a dating app, what's called a variable rate.
Okay, that's enough. I need to stop, bro. All right, that's what we're gonna. I don't know what it is. I don't know I don't know what's wrong with me today, but I have it out for fat bitches today. That's where we're gonna end the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is dating apps for you? Have you used them? Are you gonna continue using them? Please stop if you are. While you're down there, hit like, share, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff, because we're trying to hit 400 before the end of the month. And if you don't want to help, remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. If you want to see more of my face, be sure to click the video you see on screen right now.